Good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss about in economics, unit 1, gross domestic product and its growth. GDP. What it means? GDP is the market value of all the final goods and services produced in the country during a time period. GDP is the market value of all the final goods and services produced in the country during a period of time, particularly normally a year. So that is GDP and its growth. So first we are going to see about an introduction. What are the learning objectives? What we are going to learn in this chapter? To know about the meaning of gross domestic product, to understand the basic various measures of national income, to understand the composition of GDP, the structure of GDP, then the contribution of different sectors in GDP, like primary sector, secondary sector, tertiary sectors in GDP. To know the economic growth and development and its differences. Then to know about the development path based on the GDP and the employment. Finally, we are going to learn to understand the growth of GDP and economic policies. Imagine what happens in a hotel. You place an order for 2 idlis and a cup of tea. Someone makes the idlis and tea and someone else serves you. Imagine what happens in a hotel when you are placing an order for 2 idlis and a cup of tea. Someone makes the idlis and tea and someone else serves you. This is the difference you are finding. Okay, what is the difference between the goods and the services? Idlis and tea are produced. These are tangible. Why it is tangible? Because it's a physical things you can touch and feel. Look at the server and the consumer who is ordering for the idlis and the tea. The server is serving that. Okay, so idlis and the teas, obviously these are produced, or it is called as a tangible goods. Economics calls such tangible items goods. These goods are not free but have to pay it for. The work done by the cooks and the people who serve the food, the activity of cooking and serving is not something you can feel and touch. Such activities are not tangible. That is intangible. Economics calls such activity as service. Goods means what? The tangible items like idli, tea, coffee, whatever you're ordering, you can feel, you can touch that. The intangible, that is services, that we call that. GDP defined. It is the market value of all the final goods and services produced in the country during a time period. Goods and services. As you know, by now, goods are tangible items, while services are activities which are market value. This is the price at which goods and services are sold in the market. Finally, we come to know that final goods and services. Economics, Taylor Cowen and Alex Tabarrok says that final goods and services are the goods and services which will be used for consuming and will not form a part of other goods and services. Only the final goods are included in the GDP. What is the example for the final goods? For example, a cup of tea which we bought in a hotel, it's a final good. What is called intermediate goods? Intermediate goods are not counted in calculating the GDP because their value is included in the final goods. What is the example for the intermediate goods? Sugar, which is mixed in the tea. It's an intermediate good because it is used in making tea and forms a part of the tea served. So this is double counting, and to avoid it, the intermediate goods like sugar are excluded from GDP. The next topic, side heading, you're going to talk about the various terms associated with measuring national income. Point number 1, GNP, Gross National Product. It is the total value of goods and services produced and income received in a year by domestic residents of the country. It includes profits which earned from capital invested abroad. Look at that. Gross national product. National product means the entire. So that means it includes the profits even from the foreign abroad investing amount. Okay. So gross national product is the total value of goods and services produced and income received in a year by domestic residents, that is inside the country, and as well as outside the country too, which they have earning profit. GNP, gross national product, equal to C plus I plus G plus X minus M plus NFIA. What is C denotes? Consumption. I, investment. G denotes government expenditure. X minus M, export minus import. NFIA, net factor income earned from abroad. Gross domestic product, GDP. Gross domestic product is the total value of output of goods and services produced by the factors of production within the geographical boundaries of the country. It's important. 2 mark question 2. GDP. This means total value of output of goods and services produced by the factors of production within the geographical boundaries of the country. That means within the domestic, within the own country. They are not earning any profit from the abroad. So that is GDP. NNP, net national product. Net national product is arrived by making some adjustment with regard to depreciation. That is, we arrive the net national product by deducting the value of depreciation from the gross national product. This is the formula. Net national product equal to gross national product minus depreciation. So it just gives you the formulas like how they are adding and depreciating the values. Net domestic product, NDP. NDP is a part of the gross domestic product, GDP. Net domestic product is obtained from the gross domestic product by deducting the quantum of tear and wear expenses. So whatever the products they are exporting and importing, some values, some goods which are getting damaged, that also the per capita income. It's a very important question. Per capita income or output per person is an indicator to show the living standard of people in a country. It is obtained by dividing the national income by the population of a country. Per capita income, that's equal to national income divided by population, PCI. It is a output per person is an indicator to show the living standard of people in a country. In what type of living, surviving you are. You are in a poor condition, middle class, or in a high class society. So it shows you, depends on that. It is obtained by dividing the national income by the population of a country. Per capita income equal to what? National income by population. That is population of a particular nation. Personal income, PI. Personal income is the total money income received by individuals and households of a country from all possible sources before direct taxes. Therefore, personal income can be expressed as follows. How? Personal income equal to national income, that is corporate income tax, undistributed corporate profits, social security contribution plus transfer payment. That is personal income. Disposable income. Disposable income means actual income which can be spent on consumption by individuals and families. Thus, it can be expressed as disposable income equal to per capita income minus direct tax. That is DPI equal to PI, that is personal income, direct taxes which levied from consumption approaches. Direct tax equal to what? Consumption expenses plus savings. whatever we are keeping savings, that also we have to pay a tax to the government. If you are showing an account in a bank, you have to pay the tax to the government. So these are the major concepts of national income. One is the GNP, GDP, NNP, NDP, PCI, then PI and DI. The main thing, the next point of view, we are going to talk about gross domestic product, GDP. The main introduction is like that only. Now, GDP and its methods of calculating GDP. Expenditure approach, the income approach, value added approach. There are three types of methodology calculating the GDP. Number 1, expenditure approach. In this method, the GDP is measured by adding the expenditure on all the final goods and services produced in the country during a specified period. The different types of expenditures are shown in this equation. What is that? Y equal to, that is C plus I plus G plus export minus import. The income approach. This method looks at GDP from the perspective of the earnings of the men and women who are involved in producing the goods and services. The income approach to measuring GDP is Y, that is yield. Wages, how you are just yielding from the wages plus rent plus interest plus profit. All these come into income approach. Value added approach. So one of your important 2-mark questions is also a while, and this is one of the 5-mark answer. So please keep it in your mind. Be attentive inside that. Whenever the class is on, please try to achieve. Value added approach. A cup of tea served to you in a hotel is a final good. Everybody knows that already. We have learnt about what is GDP, what is the difference between the final and the intermediate good. So the goods used to produce it. What are the goods we need to prepare a tea? Tea powder, milk and sugar, and they are called as the intermediate goods. Since they form a part of the final good, the cup of tea. In the value added approach, the value added by each intermediate good is summed to estimate the value of the final good. The sum of the value added by all the intermediate goods used in the production gives us the total value of the final goods which produced in the economy. There is a difference between the final goods and the intermediate goods which we have added in a value added approach. So look at that picture for the intermediate goods and value added approach. Tea powder plus milk plus sugar equal to 1 cup of tea. That is your final good. Now we are going to discuss about the importance of GDP. We have few points. Among that, you are going to pick out any 2 or 4 points of view for your short answer. Study of economic growth. Unequal distribution of wealth. Problems of inflation and deflation. Comparison with developed countries of the world. Estimate the purchasing power. Public sector. Guide to economic planning. So these are the importance of the GDP. Among that, any 4 points of view out of 7 you can pick out. Now limitations of GDP. What are the importance over there like? Look at the several important goods and services. GDP measures quantity but not quality. Way of income and distributed in the country. So any 4 points of view only are going to be mentioned. Now we are going to see the composition of GDP. Composition, that is a structure. Indian economy is broadly divided into 3 sectors. What are the 3 sectors? Primary sector, secondary sector and the tertiary sectors, which contribute to the GDP, namely agriculture and allied activity that we call as a primary sector. Industry and services. Industry is called as a secondary sector and services is called as a tertiary sector. The first thing we are going to discuss about the primary sector, agricultural sector. Agriculture sector is known as the primary sector in which agricultural operations are undertaken. Agriculture based allied activities, production of raw materials such as cattle farm, fishing, mining, forestry, corn, coal, etc. are also undertaken. Why they have mentioned coal here? Primary sector. Mining is also one of the allied activities of the primary sector. For that purpose only they have selected coal. This is also taken under primary sector. Look at the forestry. The people how they are just cutting, clearing and mining the products. So it's called as a primary sector. Now secondary sector. Industrial sector, it's a secondary sectors in which the goods and commodities are produced by the transforming the raw materials. That is, the raw materials converted into finished products is known as industries. Okay, manufacturing industries is nothing but the raw materials converting into finished products that we called as a manufacturing product of manufacturing industries. So important industries are iron and steel industry, cotton textile, jute, sugar, cement, paper, petrochemical, automobile and other small scale industries are available in the secondary sector. Now we are going to talk about tertiary sector, that is the service sector. Tertiary sector is known as service sector. It includes government, scientific research, transport and communication, trade, postal and telegraph, banking, education, entertainment, healthcare and information technology, etc. So this is the tertiary sector, that is service sector. Example, we can give even a teachers, doctors, engineers, lawyers, all it will come under educational implements. Okay. Now we are going to talk about contributions of different sectors in GDP of India. Service sector is the largest sector of India. Gross value added at current price for service sector is estimated at around 92.26 lakh crore in 2018-19. So here gross value added is a measure of the value of goods and services produced in an area, industry or sector of an economy. GVA, gross value added, equal to what? GDP plus subsidies minus direct sales, that is taxes, which they are reducing in that gross value product. In the next, we are going to be seeing, this is the sector wise distribution of the GDP, how much they have contributed in 2018 and 19. Agriculture, industry and services. Agriculture sector, agricultural, forestry and fishing, industrial sector, mining and quarrying, manufacturing, electricity, gas, water supply and other utility service, construction, service sector, trade, hotels, transport, communication and service related to the broadcasting, financial, real estate and professional service, then public, administrative, defense and other service. This is the sector-wise contribution of GDP has been produced in a percentage. Now here we are going to discuss about economic growth and development. Economic growth. It is a quantitative measure which considers the rise in the output produced in an economy or nation in a particular period and its monetary value. The key parameters of economic growth in any economy are its gross domestic product and gross national product, which helps in measuring the actual size of an economy. So here these are the differences between economic growth and development. Economic growth. Look at that consumption between the economic growth and economic development. This is a comparison. Definition or the meaning of economic growth. It is a positive quantitative change in the output of an economy in a particular time period. What is the concept of this? Economic growth is a narrower concept. What is the nature of approach? It's a quantitative in nature. What is the scope of this? Rise in parameters like GDP, GNP, FDI, FFI, etc. What is the term? It's a short term in nature. Applicability, developed nation. Look at this, economic development. What is the definition? Index which considered a rise in living standards, advancement in technology, and overall happiness index of a nation. This is the definition of economic development. What is the concept of economic development? It is a broader concept. What is the nature of approach? It's a qualitative in nature. What is the scope? There is a rise in life expectancy rate, improvement in literacy rate, infant mortality rate, and poverty rate, etc. What is a term? It's a long term. What we have studied in economic growth, short term in nature. But in economic development, long term in nature. What is applicability for economic development? Developing economies. Measurement techniques. Increase in national income. Increase in real national income of per capita income. Frequency occurrence. In certain period of time, continuous process. Here, government aid. It's an automatic process, so may not require government support or aid or intervention. Here, highly dependent on government intervention as it includes a widespread policies changes, so without government intervention, it is not possible. Here, wealth distribution. Economic growth does not emphasize on their fair and equal distribution of wealth income among all its people. It focuses on a balanced and equitable distribution of wealth among all individuals and tries to uplift the downgrade societies. Finally, we are going to discuss about Human Development Index, HDI. It's an important question in 2-mark answer. In 1990, Mehboob ul Haq, a Pakistani economist at the United Nations, he introduced the Human Development Index, HDI. What is HDI? It is a composite index of life expectancy at birth, adult literacy rate, and standard of living measured as a logarithmic function of GDP adjusted to purchasing power parity. At the same time, here we are going to discuss about gross national happiness. It's one of the 2-mark answer. Gross national happiness. Gross national happiness is a philosophy that guides the government of Bhutan. What is that? It includes an index which is used to measure the collective happiness and well-being of a population. So GNH, gross national happiness. Now, the factors which support the Indian development. A fast-growing population of working age. There are 700 million Indians under the age of 35. And the demographics look good for Indian growth in the next 20 years at least. India is experiencing demographic transition that has increased the share of the working age population from 58% to 64% over the last 2 decades. Each decade 10 years, now 2 decades, 20 years before. So India has a strong legal system and many English language speakers. This has been a key to attracting inward investment from companies such as those specializing in information technology. India's economy has successfully developed highly advanced and attractive clusters of business in the technology space. For example, witness the rapid emergence of Bangalore as a hub for global software business. External economies of scale have deepened their competitive advantages in many related industries. Look at the picture, the information technology related to that. Growth of GDP and economic policies. Under this, we are going to talk about the agriculture policy, industrial policy, new economic policy. Agriculture policy. Agricultural policy is the set of government decisions and actions relating to domestic agriculture and imports of foreign agricultural products. Governments usually implement agricultural policies with the goal of achieving a specific outcome in the domestic agricultural product markets. Some overarching themes including risk management and adjustment, economic stability, natural resources and environmental sustainability, research and development, and market access for domestic commodities. Some agricultural policies are price policy, land reform policy, green revolution, irrigation policy, food policy, agriculture labor policy, and cooperative policy. This is one of the important paragraph detailed answer for you among agriculture, industrial, and new economic policy. So one of the 2-mark answer is also available, that we are going to see what are the different policies in India. Now, industrial policy. Industrial development is a very important aspect of any economic. It creates employment and it promotes research and development. New economic policy. The economy of India had undergone significant policy shifts in the beginning of the 1990s. This new model of economic reforms is commonly known as LPG, or otherwise we call as a liberalization, privatization and globalization model. These economic reforms had influenced the overall economic growth of a country in a significant manner. Some of the other policies in India. What are the policies we followed apart from the economic policies? Trade policy, that is import and export policy, international trade, domestic trade policy. Employment policy, currency and banking policy, wage policy, population policy. These are the other policies in India and the growth of GDP and economic